Welcome everybody to the Scale Up Show. I got a very special guest today. I have Arjun Lal. He is the co-founder of Rocket and the co-founder and CEO of HireFlow, and he helps startups grow their teams. So one of the cool things is he's got some amazing things. Arjun, you've done some amazing things, man. You're at SurveyMonkey, had a company that you sold to them. You're at Zynga, which for those of you who don't know, that's FarmVille. Did some crazy things there. So I'm really excited to dig into your story, man. Happy to have you on the show.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here, Ryan.
Yeah. So it was cool getting a chance to catch up with you a little bit before we went live. And so, why don't you give the listener, kind of a little backdrop, man, on where you're at today, what you have, kind of what's the status? I know you guys are mid to high seven figures for Rocket and HireFlow. So talk to us a little bit about that, man. Where are you at today and what's kind of going on?
Love to share that with you. Yeah, thanks for asking, Ryan. So, like you said, I'm kind of straddling between two products. It's really one company, but we have two sides to the business. Rocket is the company that I started with my co-founders almost 5 years ago now, and we're about 55 people, and we are still growing rapidly. More or less, our business is built around combining some really interesting technology to help companies better identify candidates that are a good fit for them, along with a team of stellar recruiters that can really bring things full circle. And, our belief is that you're not going to just find your next job because some computer says so. It's not like a logic problem. You can't break a person down into some numbers. But at the same time, we can use numbers and technology and data to be a little bit smarter about how we do it. But a really talented recruiting team is also critical to that can kind of connect, bring the empathy and understanding, because ultimately you join a company based on how it makes you feel and not what some algorithm is spitting out. And so those two parts of our business work together hand in hand, and have created really a phenomenal recruiting service for our customers. And those customers, range from high growth companies like Robinhood and Coinbase and Strava and Hippo Insurance.
Wow.
That
Some
are
big companies, man. Some great names there.
and as well as very early stage startups that are maybe just raised some funding from Andreessen Horowitz and are looking to hire their first employee. We can help and scale across that range. And it's cool to say that we were working with Hippo Insurance when they were 30 people, and now they're a public company, and we're still working with them. So it's cool to have that breadth.
That's
So anyway, that's the Rocket side, and then we built some cool tech in the process of doing that, which not everyone wants the full service. Some people really just want to do it themselves, and that's what HireFlow is all about. We basically packaged up the best out of tech that we've built on the Rocket side, and have that available as a freemium SaaS product at HireFlow. It actually started from a pretty young age. I learned to program because I had a graphing calculator in school, and I wanted to play games in math class. And so I learned to program, and I figured out you could transfer that game to my friends, so I was able to share the things that I made. And that all of a sudden, like, it clicked for me that, look,
that was the moment.
out of nothing, and now other people can enjoy it. And like, that was the coolest thing. We're like really connected the loop, and
Yeah.
I didn't need anything but time and my energy, and I could kind of in theory build whatever, and I was interested in. And I've been interested in games from a young age, so that kind of drove my passion and interest in learning how to program. um, but anyway, kind of fast forward a little bit to college, to kind of get to your question. um, I had a friend who was a big political junkie. He knew I liked programming, he knew I liked games, and he was like, "Hey, it seems a bummer to me that my roommate can play fantasy football all the time, and I have nothing because I'm really interested in politics. Like, do you think you could help me make this project? And you're like, you're into games, you're into programming." I said, "Sure, let's figure it out. It sounds interesting." I myself am not a big political junkie, but the challenge, I was up to the challenge, and so we built it just as a side project. It was called Fantasy Congress. So it's basically you draft members of Congress, and you build your fantasy team, and you compete just like you would in fantasy football. And you earn points based on how far legislation goes. And we had written all these data parsers, and for the 2006 congressional elections, as far as I know, we were the only people ever to quantify what members of Congress did. And we had a whole stack rank from the most productive member of Congress down to the least ranked, all those, members of Congress, and
Wow.
we built a team around it. Um, and what started as like something that one of our professors was using in his class, we had like 200 people in the world using this, to getting coverage in the New York Times, and then CNN and Fox News and NPR and Time Magazine and you name it. And we, like, within 2 weeks we had 40,000 users, and
Wow.
this became something real very quickly.
That's so crazy.
After Fantasy Congress started a company called Jam Legend, it was like Guitar Hero for the web. We grew at to 3 million registered users, close to a
Nice.
million monthly actives, and it was great. And ended up, after running that for 3 years, selling that to Zynga, and Zynga eventually shut Jam Legend down. But my team and I found ourselves on the FarmVille team, which was, at the time, I think we joined, there was like 20 million daily active users. So the number
Wow.
was astounding. And, we thought Jam Legend was big, but this is just like, an order of
That's
magnitude.
insane, man. It's insane.
And it was a really phenomenal experience. I learned so much. I worked with some incredible people, and it was just such an exciting time to be um, on the innovation of gaming in a really strange way. And I think a lot of the traditional AAA gaming folks like didn't respect what we were doing in the same way. But we were really pushing the envelope, and exploring new ways for people to interact with games. And you talk to a lot of our users, and you would ask them, "Do you play games?" And they would say, "Nope, I don't play games." But
Really?
Farmville was just something that they did, that they did not think of as a game, but
Oh,
very
no way.
the way we thought of it as a game. Um, and so we just had massive reach. We basically brought people into gaming that had never played games before. And I think casual games that have come after, like Candy Crush and others, have done that as well. But we definitely were at the forefront of really expanding the definition of what it means to play a game. Yeah, I was at Zynga. I love making games. I kind of always aspired and dreamed to do that. I was doing that. But as a business, it was tough because Farmville was massively successful, but we launched a lot of other games that weren't nearly as successful. And I saw all the time and energy, and how well made those games were, but the market just didn't take. And I realized it, being in the business of making games is not something I was excited about doing, given that you could do all that and
It's like
still,
boom or bust, right? You could
that's right.
you could
Very
spend,
boom.
oh
You could say the
yeah.
same about any startup, but it felt particularly so, where understanding consumers is just very difficult. So I decided instead to build something that maybe be more in service of the gaming industry. And so, with some folks that I met at Zynga and worked with at Zynga, um, we started a company called Renzo when we were in the competitive mobile intelligence space, but we could help game developers understand um, how much their games were played versus their competitors, and whether people playing their games were playing the competitors' games, and how often they were playing, and all sorts of cool stats, so they could kind of spot the new hits before they became big and understand the market. And but before we actually even launched that product, we built all the systems, we had all the data, but we were just about, you know, just a year into the company, and we sold it to SurveyMonkey. They got wind of what we were doing, and Dave Goldberg, who was the CEO at the time, really believed in that and what we were up to. And so they approached us with an acquisition that came well before we were ever expecting, but we were really lucky to join forces and build that product out as SurveyMonkey Intelligence after the acquisition closed.
And so, where can people find you? Where can they learn about more about Rocket and Co. or Higher Flow?
Yeah, so our website for Rocket is getrocket.com, and Hireflow is hireflow.ai. And if you reach out via either website, and let them know you heard me on the podcast, we'll be more than happy to offer you a special offer as a
Nice.
yes.
Little friend of the family discount, special offer. I love it, Arjun. All right. Well, hey, it was awesome having you on the show. I just love your demeanor. You're so chill and just like go with the flow, and like you have failures and it doesn't even seem like it hits you that bad. So way to power through, man. You've done some amazing things in your career, and really excited to see you guys get to that 50 million mark in another 3 years or so. We'll have you back on the show back then.
That'd be amazing. Let's make it happen.
All right, Arjun. We'll
All
see you.
right. Thanks, Ryan.